Hey guys, welcome back to another new Animal Crossing video. I'm Crossing Channel, and in today's video, I'll be taking a look at 10 useful tips and tricks you should know about. A lot of new players joined us during the holiday season, and I thought it'd be about time to create another tips and tricks video, which is something I've always really enjoyed doing. So if you're excited for this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on channel notifications for more Animal Crossing videos. Now, let's get straight into these tips and tricks. Number 1. This one might seem kind of obvious, but after visiting hundreds of dream islands and seeing so many islands online, this one might not be as well known as it might seem. You can craft so many different reefs in the game that you can proudly display on your door, ranging from pretty flower ones to holiday related ones and so many more that you can collect via DIY recipes. You might have already made one yourself or put it on your door, which is pretty cool, but you can actually put it on the door of your villagers too. It isn't as simple as walking up to their door and putting it on, however. You'll actually need to gift it to them when talking to them. If you don't have the option to gift them a reef, it means your friendship isn't enough, but more interactions should fix that. This is a nice way to help your villagers' houses feel more personal and unique to them with a special reef, so I definitely recommend putting a reef on their door. It doesn't really matter what type of door or house they have, the reefs will go on each and every one. Number 2. The campsite is one of the ways you can get new villagers to live on your island in New Horizons, and sometimes you'll discover that someone you actually like is camping there. Once you've chatted with them enough and perhaps even played a game or two with this villager, you might get the opportunity to actually invite them to live on your island. Once this happens, if you've already got 10 villagers living on your island, you'll find that they won't actually move in unless you kick out one of your existing villagers. Now, they'll bring up a random name, and it's very possible they might want to kick out a villager that you actually like, whereas you might already have someone specific in mind that they can replace. So before ending the conversation with this camper, restart the game, press the home button to close it, and reopen the game. You'll have to talk to the camper again and convince them to move in, but once you do, you'll find they'll most likely offer a different name up to you to kick out this time. This little trick can save you from getting rid of a villager you really want, and can actually help you kick out someone you might not like. If you use an amiibo card and invite a villager to camp that way, they'll let you outright choose who to kick out, which is a lot better. But of course, not everyone has access to amiibos, so this method works well if you get lucky with the campers who come to your island. Number 3. If you pick up a lost item on the floor, you'll quickly realize that this is something you need to return to your villagers who may have dropped it walking around the island. These little items themselves serve no purpose at all really, but giving them back to their owner will award you some friendship points with said villager and will also help you earning some Nook Mile tasks too. A good little trick to getting these lost items back to their owner is talking to literally any villager on your island and trying to give it to them. If you're really lucky, it might actually belong to this villager, but if it doesn't, then they'll tell you who they actually think owns it. This villager they suggest to you will actually be the correct owner every single time. So don't worry about talking with anyone else, go straight to this villager they suggested and return the item for your friendship points, a little reward, and Nook Mile progress too. This is a nice and simple way to get back the lost item without really going out of your way too much. Number 4. I'm actually considering making a video on how to make loads of bells, but I thought it'd be good to mention here a really good tip about deep sea creatures. If you're diving, then you might want to look out for some of the sea creatures which can honestly be so profitable. The sea pig is worth 10,000 bells and appears November to February in the Northern Hemisphere and May to August in Southern Hemisphere from 4 PM to 9 AM. The Gigas Giant Clam is worth a whopping 15,000 bells and appears May to September in Northern Hemisphere and November to March in Southern Hemisphere all day long. The Vampire Squid goes for another cool 10,000 bells and appears May to August in the Northern Hemisphere and November to February in the Southern Hemisphere from 4 PM to 9 AM. The Spider Crab is worth another 10,000 and appears March to April in the Northern Hemisphere and September to October in the Southern Hemisphere. Finally, the Giant Isopod is worth 12,000 bells and appears July to October in the Northern Hemisphere and January to April in the Southern Hemisphere from 9 AM to 4 PM and 9 PM to 4 AM. If you need bells, you honestly can't go wrong with diving. Lots of things here are worth decent bells, even if you don't find these specific creatures. A little tip that's more on the side of decorating is that you can actually overlay your pathways around your island with custom patterns. Instead of going for the default look, why not consider getting a custom pattern to really spruce up the paths you've laid down with the island designer? This is what I've done around my island and I'm really happy with it. You can also use this method to recolor the default paths by creating a pattern that has one transparent dot on it, making it recolor your pathways for you like you see on screen. I definitely think this is worth doing as it can really help your island feel more unique overall instead of blending in with the rest. Number 6. Balloons are actually one of the most important things to find in the game, as these guys can potentially contain DIY recipes for the many craftable items in the game, and quite often these balloons contain DIY recipes that you can only find in balloons. This means likely you want to pop as many balloons as you possibly can, not only to get these DIY recipes but also to get bells and even rewards like the golden slingshot for popping many balloons. The best way of finding balloons is to sit and wait around your beaches. The ocean is where the balloons will come from, either left or right, depending on which way the wind is blowing, so make sure you wait and sit on the beach where you know the wind is blowing. I've found that when I'm doing lots of work on my island near the beach, I tend to notice tons fly in, so this could be a really good way to hunt for balloons and get those elusive and rare seasonal DIY recipes so you can collect your DIY collection. If you're sick of all those DIY recipes laying around your island and wasting space, a good solution would be to create and use a secondary player character in party mode and have them pick up any of the DIYs or unnecessary items that you have laying around. These will be sent to the recycle bin, which is especially nice as you can't store DIY recipes anywhere else in the game, so this is a neat little trick for helping them get out of the way without having to make too much effort or getting rid of DIYs that you might want to save for later to share with other players. I definitely recommend helping your fellow players get DIY recipes as they can be so difficult to find certain ones, so this is a good way of getting them and not having to get rid of them. Number 8, I feel like it's worth mentioning here that it's important to have at least one villager of each personality type living on your island. In total there are 8 personalities: normal, peppy, sisterly, snooty, jock, lazy, cranky, and smug. Different personalities will say and do different things around your island related to their personality, but there's more to it than just that. You can actually unlock certain reactions from certain personality types as the game gets updated frequently. It seems likely they could add even more exclusive unlocks to certain personality types, so it's worth having a varied lot of villagers with different personalities. You can use a site like Nookopedia to determine which personality each villager has, and this will definitely help in deciding who should have a spot on your island. It's always good to be prepared when it comes to personalities, as it does seem like we could see more exclusive unlocks via these personalities come in the future. Number 9. A little tip that I only learned about myself in more recent months is that a quick and easy way to tell what you've already donated to the museum is checking your Critterpedia app and seeing if there's a little owl symbol by the name of the creature. If there is one, it means you've donated the critter, and if there isn't, you haven't. It can be tricky sometimes to keep on top of what you have and what you haven't donated to the museum, especially with there being so many different critters and creatures to collect in the game, so I recommend using this feature so you can easily tell what you've given to Blathers and what you haven't. I always recommend giving your first catch of anything to Blathers rather than selling it, as you don't know when you'll be able to see that critter again. Number 10. Though Nook's Cranny causes much frustration by often selling us the same items again and again, there is a reason to keep checking it even if you have a lot of the game's items. Nook's Cranny will have a seasonal display that can provide limited time items that you can only get for that period, such as during summer and winter, October, November, and potentially more. These items are often related to events like Halloween, Turkey Day, and Toy Day, so it can help you get hold of many items that you might have to craft otherwise. If you're tired of what's in Nook's Cranny, you can visit a friend's island and find a different selection of items, including different color variants of the ones you have. Red will also sell variants of the items you can usually find at Nook's Cranny, so make sure to check his stock when he comes to visit you. I really hope you guys found these tips useful, and hopefully you learned something new here. There's always so much more to learn with New Horizons as the game gets updated. Hopefully we can learn about even more cool tips and tricks to make this experience even better. I want to give a big thanks to the channel members for supporting the content I make here. If you want to become a channel member and get a whole bunch of cool perks, click the join button down below the video or click the link in the description to learn more. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like to show your support. You can also subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to turn on channel notifications to get notified when I put up new videos.